When you look poor, the world doesn't just ignore you. It actively works against you. People think poverty is about money, but Machiavelli understood something darker. Poverty is first judged visually, long before it's experienced financially. The moment people perceive you as low status, their behavior changes. Quietly, instantly, automatically. This isn't because they're evil, but because human psychology is hierarchical, and hierarchy is visual. People respond not to who you are, but to what you appear to represent. Machiavelli observed that power begins before words, before logic, before truth. It begins with perception. When you look poor, you are unconsciously placed at the bottom of the social order. Your words carry less weight. Your mistakes are judged more harshly. Your intentions are questioned. Even when you are right, you are treated as if you are wrong. This is not fairness. This is psychology. People associate appearance with competence, status with intelligence, wealth with authority, and lack with danger. When someone looks poor, others feel licensed to disrespect them, interrupt them, dismiss them, ignore them. Because in the human mind, status determines value. Machiavelli warned that the masses do not respect truth, they respect appearance. They follow what looks powerful. They obey what looks elevated. They distrust what looks weak. This is why kings dressed like kings even in private. This is why rulers invested more in image than in explanation, because explanation convinces slowly. Appearance convinces instantly. When you look poor, people assume you need something. And need is weakness. Need invites exploitation. They offer you worse deals. They delay their responses. They feel no urgency. Because urgency is reserved for those who can leave. The poor are assumed to have no alternatives. Machiavelli understood that dependence destroys leverage, and appearance signals dependence. A person who looks wealthy is assumed to have options. A person who looks poor is assumed to be trapped. So the world negotiates accordingly. Even kindness changes. Help becomes condescension. Advice becomes instruction. Respect becomes tolerance. You are no longer treated as an equal participant, but as a problem to be managed. People listen differently. When a wealthy person speaks, others search for meaning. When a poor person speaks, others search for flaws. The same sentence carries different weight depending on who delivers it. This is why two people can say the exact same thing and receive opposite reactions. One is called confident, the other is called arrogant. One is called decisive, the other is called rude. Machiavelli knew that power controls interpretation. Not logic, interpretation. When you look poor, your confidence is seen as overcompensation. Your silence is seen as ignorance. Your ambition is seen as delusion. You are punished not for your actions, but for violating expectations. Because society assigns limits to those places below. And stepping outside those limits feels threatening. This is why poor people are expected to be grateful. Grateful for opportunity. Grateful for scraps. Grateful for survival. Ambition from below is unsettling. Machiavelli warned that people hate seeing those beneath them rise. Not because of injustice, but because hierarchy feels natural to them. When someone who looks poor refuses to act inferior, it disrupts the social order, and disruption invites correction. Mockery, exclusion, resistance, subtle punishment. The world teaches you your place without ever saying it out loud. Doors close quietly, emails go unanswered, invitations stop arriving, and no one explains why. This is how power maintains itself invisibly. Machiavelli observed that appearance protects authority. When authority looks weak, it must explain itself. And explanation erodes power, so society does the opposite. It strips authority from those who appear poor, so it never has to justify disrespect. This is why success often begins the moment your appearance changes, even before your reality does. People treat you better before you become better, because perception moves first. Reality follows later. This is not optimism, it is strategy. Machiavelli never said become rich to gain power. He said appear powerful to gain access. Power rewards resemblance. People trust what looks like success because it validates their own beliefs. They want to believe the system works. So they treat those who appear successful as proof of that belief. And they treat the poor as evidence of failure, even when it isn't. This is why looking poor makes everything harder. Not because money solves problems, but because perception removes obstacles. Machiavelli understood that survival depends on adaptation, not on moral fairness. If the world punishes appearance, then appearance becomes armor. This does not mean arrogance. It means control. Control over how you are read. Control over how you are categorized. Control over which box society places you in. Because once that label is applied, everything else follows automatically. Silence is read differently. Confidence is interpreted differently. Mistakes are forgiven differently. The same world, two entirely different experiences. And all of it begins before you ever open your mouth. Machiavelli's lesson is uncomfortable, but it is precise. Do not ask the world to judge you fairly. The world never has. Instead, understand how judgment works. And never walk unprotected into a system that punishes weakness. Because when you look poor, everything works against you. Not because of cruelty, but because power recognizes its own reflection and ignores the rest. If you find this perspective valuable, subscribe for more insights into the unseen rules of power. Thanks for watching.